Hockey with an Accent is presented by Molson. Game, guys. Unbelievable. Cole Caufield, 40th goal of the season. This is unbelievable. Montreal versus Boston never disappoints. I'll be with Mathieu, Dandenault, Pascal, Leclaire to start the show. And in a few moments, Ray Bourque and Patrice Bergeron will be joining us. We're playing the Boston Bruins. Obviously, we need to talk a little bit about the other team. Don't forget, later on during the show, we will do the break of the week. So we're opening up a box with cards. And if you write in the chat right now, Remy Card Trader, you will have the chance to win the big prize by the end of the show. Guys, what is your takeaway from tonight's game? What a game. Playoff game tonight, right, Dandy?
It was awesome. I think obviously the Canadiens lately, it was something about they're really fast offensively but slow defensively. I think that was the Achilles heel of the Canadiens lately, and I think they played a pretty solid defensive game. I think they managed the clock better than they did the last few games against these California teams, but it's a rivalry. I mean, no matter what, you're kind of sucked in right away. If you're not ready, it takes one shift, and then you're into the game with the Boston Bruins. The atmosphere was good at the Bell Center, but to come out with that those big 2 points, those are huge points.
Yeah, because Pascal, you mentioned it during the period. Everyone was winning tonight. Columbus
won. The Islanders won. So you could see the last 5-6 minutes on both teams were going for the point, and I think it was a smart decision. Dandy, I agree with you. Like, we managed the clock a bit better. It wasn't perfect all the time. But I think it's a step in the right direction about like fixing things on the fly during the season. But to me, I think a few guys stepped up. Like you mentioned the rivalry today with Boston, and we needed a guy like Anderson to really step up his game. And
it's probably his best game of the year.
I agree. Yeah. I agree. And right off the bat, on the PK at scoring chances, he was moving his feet. He was physical. He obviously had the big goal on the tip. So to me, it was probably his best game of the year. A whole bunch of stuff. Dobesh too was solid. He made the saves when it counted. There's a lot of good things out of the Montreal Canadiens. Obviously, Cole Caufield, 40th goal in the season. I think it's been 23 years? 93, 94 by Vincent D'Anfouts. It's been a while. So that's and it's an important goal too. That's not just a goal like in a 5-1 game. It's a really, really important goal. So a good night in Montreal.
Another game winner in OT for him is he's been always showing up for big games for sure. I can't wait to talk to Ray Bourque and Patrice Bergeron later about a few things. Whatever it's Hudson, his partner. How hard is it to perform offensively and defend at the same time? Like we're talking about Suzuki. What a game tonight. Played 200 feet, played the right way, winning draws, going to the net, playing a playoffs type of hockey, And I felt like tonight that for the first time in a while, the Habs played like they had to win. Like it's the first time they felt the pressure. Yeah. You look at the standings, if you lose that game, it's the beginning of big pressure, big problems, and they showed up. It's a perfect playoff game tonight.
Absolutely, and I think who else managed the clock? I think the coaching staff. Why? Because if we looked at the ice time, Hudson on the weekend games would play anywhere from 28 to 25 minutes. Tonight he played 21. He wasn't the most played player on defense. Dobson played 24 and Matheson played 23. Why? Because when there's the last 2 minutes of the period we were talking about it, Hudson wasn't on the ice. So they managed that play because they know, he made a little fumble play defensively. So they said, you know what? We'll sit him in the last 2 minutes. And if it goes to overtime, which it did, I think he had like a 3-minute shift in overtime. Like it was amazing, and he still had juice like this to keep skating after 2 minutes on the ice. It was pretty wild. But the Canadian coaching staff did a good job there to manage more of the ice time.
Yeah, he made a big play on the 2-on-1 when Lori tried the scoop, or what do you call it, like the
toe drag,
the toe drag,
the scoop, the spoon,
the spoon in French. But he made a good play. But I agree with you. That's a good point you bring, Dandy, because like even at the end of the game, I'm not a huge fan of Lane Hutson like closing out game defensively. Obviously, when you need him, you need a goal, you want him on the ice. But you know, when the other team is chasing a goal and like especially on 6-on-5, they put a lot of traffic in the net. I don't think he's the best guy to
Dobson
defend.
and Madison.
I'd rather have Dobson and Madison with their size, a bit more experience to defensively, a bit, you know, like just a bit better defensively. Not saying that Hudson is bad defensively, but I think these guys can do a better job. And both of those guys were good tonight too. Yeah. Sometime on off nights, you know, they'll take away Dobson towards the end of the game when you're trying to protect the puck. But I thought Dobson had a decent game again today. He was solid, so it's a good decision. And I'm glad to see that we're managing that and we're adapting from game to games.
I look forward to talking to Ray Bourque about partners and stuff on defense, because that was one of the things, right? Who we taking out today? Like, are you not surprised, Jack-Eye not playing against the Boston Bruins, the big rivalry, Jeannot and those guys, and going with Struble, but not only having Struble in the lineup, having him as Hudson's partner. That was something. So I'm looking forward to talk to Ray Bourque about that. Like all the partners, like those top tier guys, when they play, they always have a solid partner. And for Hudson, we're still looking around again.
Yeah, for sure. And let's not forget that Boston played last night as well.
True.
So it was probably a tough matchup for them. They showed up. They play well, Boston, right? Like they don't have many superstars. They have a great team energy. They play the right way. They're physical. They play well defensively. One thing I would like to mention before we join Patrice Bergeron and Ray Bourque is Brendan Gallagher. 900 games, guys. And just we've been talking about the season that he slowed down and all this, but this guy did so much for the organization. And just to show you what he did for the Montreal Canadiens, there's a few names, and he just joined a special group tonight. In the history of the Montreal Canadiens, got Henri Richard with 1,258 games. Then Larry Robinson, Bob Gainey, Jean Béliveau, Claude Provost, André Markov, Tomas Plekanec, Maurice Richard, Yvan Cournoyer, Guy Lafleur, Serge Chavard, Guy Carbonneau, and tonight, who's joining the big club? Brendan Gallagher. This is unbelievable. This guy showed up every single night since he's wearing the uniform. There's not one night, even if he's not playing perfectly, that he didn't show up. He deserve credit. I respect that.
Especially by the way he played the game and the size he had. He wasn't a 6'4", 230-pound guy. Like, undersized guy, played the game really hard the right way. Like you said, just shows up all the time. That's kind of feat. Like, staying healthy for that long, too, with the way he played. So, and I thought he was good.
He had a few injuries with wrists and stuff. I remember a couple broken bones. But overall, like, I mean, his tenacity and what he meant to the team and the heart. I remember Marc Bergevin crying after he signed him, right? Remember that? Because that was an emotional signing. To have that guy, he's a warrior. And it's very infectious when those guys play hard, and then it just leads all your young guys to just take a look at that. Said, even if he's good, he still works really, really hard, and he still does. And he had a really nice play, that pool shot for off the boards for Anderson to go on another breakaway. Again, Anderson, what a great game! But that was a pretty nice pass.
But you know, I think that's where when we talk about the importance of a Gallagher in the lineup, it's for these kinds of games. I think he was very effective, and that's his kind of play. Not a lot of space out there. You know, he did his job on the forecheck, keeping pucks in the O zone, getting some momentum. It's not always about creating scoring chances, but just the work sometimes that will lead to a scoring chances, or like get the other team's defensemen get tired, then your top line goes in. So I thought that fourth line did a good job tonight.
Absolutely. That's the fourth line's job, is to create that energy and then have as much offensive time in the offensive zone and just wear down those Ds. And that gives you energy, like you said. Then you can have a Suzuki line or Kapanen's line, which they were pretty quiet tonight, I thought, that line. But Man, that Caufield again,
But
it's pretty special.
We're talking about Gally, and we're going to be talking about the culture in Boston with Raymond and Patrice in a few moments. But let's not forget the way Gallagher's career started, right? He was living at Josh George's. You know, you remember?
Yeah.
Like,
I remember Josh.
Yeah, but Georgie was playing the right way, blocking shots, always for the team. And, he started his career with the right attitude. And it's probably the way he was. But I feel like it's so important to have a good role model when you start your career to do the right things, right? Because there's some kids, I'm sure they started their careers in organization where they were just going out and they thought it was the right thing to do.
Yeah, well,
Who went out?
Like myself and Patrice Bergeron, like an influence, because I know he stayed at Marty Lapointe's place when Marty signed with Boston. But I had a teammate, Marty Lapointe, for 7 years in Detroit. We won 2 cups together. But he was a good role model for us because he worked hard. He worked his ass off big time. And he was really good to me. And it trickles down. If your leaders are really good, it trickles down. And Gally certainly had a few good guys to watch for the Canadiens. And just the way he played, he scored his goals like that in the junior and whatever level. It was always hard-nosed to the net. Get those garbage goals. You need that type of guy, not just all finesse, on peripheral. So Gally goes to the net. He's got a nose to the net, and what a career! Yeah,
I'm just seeing on the chat, and because it's a good question. What do we do with Gally next year? We talked about it during the game, and we had a discussion about it. And he has 1 year left on his contract. And I mean, to me, it doesn't hurt the team to keep him around. I mean, I don't think they're gonna buy him out. Like the cap is going up. Yeah. There's space too on the cap more next year. I think he's got a little bit left. It's just like such a good influence, like Dandy, like you said, just about leadership and the way that he can still help the team a different way. But I still think he has an impact on that group.
I don't like the way they've managed, and it wasn't the same management, but the way they managed Andrei Markov end of his career, right? And I don't want to see the same thing with Gallagher. I know, like they're to one point, like you cannot treat the players the same way all the time, but Gallagher,
what did they do to Markov?
Well, he was a few games away from 1,000. It just they let him go, right? It was a matter of a 1 year or 2 year contract. In Gallagher's way, I think he can bring a lot, whatever it's in the dressing room or in the management. He's been through the whole rebuild. You don't want to just throw him in the garbage after 900 games. There, at one point, like we've been talking about that feeling of like staying in an organization. The 2 guys that we're about to talk with, they've done it for most of their career. Like Ray went to win the cup, obviously, in Colorado, but together they played so many games for the same team.
They're also big-time Hall of Famers.
You know what? We'll go join them right now. This interview will be presented by Molson. Molson, the official beer of the Montreal Canadiens. Proud partner and fan. Everyone in. Let's join Patrice Bergeron and Ray Bourque. Guys, we're so lucky tonight. The 2 best captains in history of the Boston Bruins probably in the same screen with us. Hockey with an accent. Hopefully you guys' accent improve a lot during the years in Boston. Ray, how are you?
I'm good. How about a couple of French guys being captains of the Bruins for all those years?
Unbelievable. Patrice, what's going on, my friend?
What's going on? Happy to be here. Thanks for having me, guys.
Did Patrice just hang the Ray Bourque jersey just for this interview? Is that?
I took it out of the closet.
Yeah. You know what, Ray?
No, it's always in the basement. It's always
no. I thought we did a couple podcasts with you, and then you had Max Lapierre jersey hang on like in French.
Right. Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, I depending on who I'm going to be on. It's always I make changes. So tonight is Ray. I thought it was very fitting to have Ray's jersey behind me.
I want to hear you guys about
I think I gave you that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ray.
I think after you won the cup in 2011.
Yeah.
That's game worn too.
I know. It's a special jersey.
Wow. Who did you guys win against, Patrice?
You're the one that brought
it up. Hey, guys, I got a question for you. We've been talking about the culture in Boston, and feels like doesn't matter who shows up on the ice. If you're a talented guy, a depth player, they always play the right way, and it's been a lot of years. I want to hear about the culture in Boston. It seems like it never changed. They're never looking for an identity, and they always play the same way. It's probably started when you were playing, Ray. I want to hear about what happens when you wear that uniform and what is being told by the management the first day at training camp. Feels like it's always the same thing year after year.
Well, I think you look at both organizations that played tonight. There's a culture there that's been going on for over 100 years, and the people that come before you, you watch, and then when you show up, you recognize what's expected of you and how you need to play, how you need to prepare, how you need to be a good teammate, how you need to have your teammates back. And, you know, Boston's a blue-collar town, so fans really expect you to go out there, and one thing they want to see, they want every night, is hard work, and for you to care and to give it pretty much everything you have. And the Bruins have been known for a team that always showed up to play and played hard. So, you know, I showed up in 1979 with, you know, you're watching a guy like Terry O'Reilly, the hardest working guy I've ever played with, the toughest guy I've ever played with, guys like Wayne Cashman, Brad Park, Jean Rattel, Jerry Cheevers. You know, you're surrounded by guys that are before you, that are showing you the example. So as a young guy, you have to follow, you have to learn, you have to pay attention. You know, Peter McNabb for the longest time said that I didn't speak English when I got to Boston. I spoke perfect English. I didn't speak. I just watched and listened. And by doing that, pretty quick, you learn what's expected of you.
Pat, it feels like it's a tradition, right? Like every generation is playing the same way. You've done it. Talk to us a little bit about toughness and leadership in Boston. I feel like they always bring it every single game. They're physical. We've seen it last night, again tonight against the Habs. Feels like it's part of the DNA, and you win that way, right?
Yeah, I think you're right that it's part of the DNA. I think like if you look at, I'm going to echo what Ray has talked about. I think it is a blue-collar town, and they expect you to go out on the ice and give your best every night. But also, they love physicality, and it seems like, you know, the big bad Bruins of that era is as kind of from the 70s has kind of bled through the years and then the decades after that, where, you know, the type of hockey that the Bruins are expected to play is a physical, you know, game. It's tough. It's in your face. And I call it hard skill. You know, like obviously there's a lot of skilled player, but you know, they play the right way. They try to play hard. And at the end of the day, I think it goes from, you know, so if I go back to myself, like my first couple of years, I had guys like Ray and Chief, John Busick, Cam Neely, a lot of guys, legends that have been around, that were still around the locker room and would talk to us and give us advice. And I think you kind of, as he said, you try to be a sponge and listen as much as possible. And you try to, you know, it really makes you understand what it really means to be a Boston Bruin. And when you step on the ice, the pride that, you know, you do have donning that jersey. So it's a very special organization. And obviously their history speaks for itself. But, you know, I do agree that it is part of the DNA. It is part of how you want to play. And it seems that it carries on, you know.
You guys were
and the torch is passed. You know, like Patrice shows up as a young guy. He right off the bat, he's playing the right way and all that stuff. But you know, that's for us when you show up as an 18-year-old, playing the game and practicing is pretty easy. But then learning the leadership skills and the preparation, and because, you know, Patrice fell into that role as being the leader, as being the top guy. I fell into that role in my mid-20s as well. And the torch is passed. So, you know, you're kind of quiet, you're playing well, you're playing hard, but then you're asked to do even more in terms of being a leader and being a vocal guy and doing more. And then, you know, you're one of those guys that, as a young guy coming in, you're looked at and how you prepare, how you practice, how you work out, how you conduct yourself, how you are with the public, and all that stuff. And that's where the young guys learn. And it just kind of, it's passed on as you go on. And, you know, the Bruins are very lucky to have that. And I mean, the Montreal Canadiens, same thing, you know, in terms of their success that they've had over 100 years.
How do you guys prepare? You guys have been obviously great leaders of those teams, and you're talking about like taking the next step and want to be one of those important players. Obviously, being in the original six market, and when you're chasing a playoff spot like the Bruins are, like a guy like Pastrnak being the go-to guy in Montreal, get the Suzuki and Caufield. You guys were the go-to guys of your teams. Like, how do you handle that pressure that goes in to show up every night? Obviously, there's preparation, and a lot of people prepare, but you seem just the special players are able to deliver year after year. From your side, like, how did you guys dealt with that, and what was your, like, let's say, your magic recipe to be able to go out there and just perform well year after year?
If I speak for myself, I felt like it was always preparation. You know, like I've always, you know, tried to prepare to the best that I can, and then more, right? I always felt that, you know, my expectations of myself were always, you know, to the highest level that I could. And I spoke to Ray many times, and he was talking about perfection. You need to expect perfection out of yourself, knowing that you're not going to get there, right? But then, like, you work towards that. And I think that was something that stuck with me my whole career, and I was trying to use, and I actually tried to pass, you know, as he talked about passing the torch. That was one of those things I was trying to pass on to the younger guys. You know, it's always about raising the bar for yourself. And then as a leader, that's the only way you can actually lead. Because if you don't make yourself accountable, then you can't point fingers, or you can't talk to your teammates and be like, hey, I need more out of you, or I need more out of us as a team. So I always, and obviously we had a guy like named Dandenault that, you know, had those expectations for himself, and was always the hardest worker on the ice or in the gym. So, you know, when you have a guy like that leads the team, it's one of those things where hopefully it bleeds through the lineup, and it becomes contagious, and the rest of the guys follow.
Ray,
he is. So we're talking the same language. I think that Patrice and I were so similar, obviously playing different positions, but I think the consistency, the expectations, you know, I love that Patrice brings up that, you know, when I look back on my career, looking for expectations, knowing that you're never going to reach there, but it makes you the best player that you could be on a everyday basis, because whatever you accomplish today, for me anyways, was never enough. So the next day you're looking to do more and to be better. So, you know, your leader, it's not, yeah, it's pressure, you know, but you set the bar, you set the tempo, you go out there, you show the example right off the bat early in that game that, hey, I'm here to play. And so it's pressure, but it's fun. When you mention pressure, I laugh.
Well, speaking of like
it's bring it on, right? It's like, come on, let's. You want to be in those situations.
Well,
I'd
like to hear about those situations. Obviously, we're all French Canadians. We all kind of grew up watching the Canadiens, but you guys made it on to the big bad Bruins. So I want to know your highlights about coming into Montreal. Obviously, you got the whole family and everything else, but what are your highlights playing the Canadiens? And I want to know, Ray, especially in the Forum. What was it like to play in the Forum as a Bruins against the great Canadian teams in the 80s?
Well, it's crazy because I was a big fan, and I thank the Canadiens for making a young guy dream about playing in the NHL in my Hall of Fame speech. I used to go to the parades, miss school, and you know, as a young kid, you kind of dream about for playing for the Canadiens. But once you get to a certain level, you kind of know that it's probably not going to happen, and probably shouldn't happen early in your career. You know, I always said if you're going to play in Montreal, let start somewhere else for 5 to 10 years and to get to know the ropes, and then come back and know how to handle everything. But for me, it was just, you know, playing against Larry Robinson, Serge Savard, Guy Lapointe, the big three that were my idols. Guy Lafleur, having a picture at the Forum in early game that we're both crossing around center ice. I still have that picture. And just having a hard time playing against Montreal early in my career just because I was trying to do too much. And it didn't work out too well early. And then Montreal, then I actually, my second year, last exhibition game, we're playing Montreal and we're on a power play and there was a bad pass made. And then I'm changing, not even paying attention to where the puck was. And it was almost ice. So Robert Picard gets the puck. He slaps it down because he's shorthanded. I almost get to the bench and it hits me right under the helmet here and crushes my whole forehead. Oh, my whole sinus was crushed. And I go get stitched up in a Montreal dressing room, and I'm touching my forehead, and I have a indentation. And I just remember being in Montreal General for 4 days after having surgery there and missing the first 6 weeks of the season. Whoa. So that wasn't such a good memory.
Tough start. Pat, I want to hear you about you've watched the game tonight, like Nick Suzuki's game, and we were discussing while watching it, like it must be tough to be focused playing a 200 feet type of game, you need to score big goals, but at the same time defend to another level and set example for your teammates. How tough is it? Like you've done
and take
it so
the big
well.
face off too.
Yeah, exactly. Everything on the ice. I feel like it's two gears, but you got to do it perfectly both sides.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, it is a lot of responsibilities, but also at the same time, I think as a player, you love that and you kind of want that, right? So for myself, like I know, like taking a big face-off was so important to me, but also would get me in the zone and get me in the game. You know what I mean? Like I don't know about you, Max, but I felt like early in the game, if I didn't have many face-offs, I would feel kind of like out of it. I need that to have a couple face-offs to get myself going. And so late in game, whatever that is. But then I go back to, if you focus only on results, you're never going to get there, right? Because like, for me, it's a game of details. Hockey is always about details. So where do you position yourself on the ice? How you react defensively, coming back, staying above the puck and whatever that is, usually used to put me, I guess I should say, in a position to score. Meaning that like, if I cheat, if I go below the puck or, which you would think put me in a better offensive position, I found that in my game, it would always lead to, turnovers and never really get to where I wanted to get to. So like for me, like I feel like Suzuki is playing the same way. He's playing above the puck. He's playing, but then for some reason the puck finds him because he's in a good position, right? He always puts himself in the right spot defensively, but also ready to attack and to be open for a shot. So I guess you're trying to cover a lot of ground on the ice, but at the same time, it's I always found it very, very fun and got me myself in the game for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And Ray, we on the other side, like you've watched a little bit of Lane Hudson, obviously, and we were also discussing like for an offensive guy, how important it is to have the right D partner, because in this case, feels like in Montreal, he's always getting the 6 or 7 D. Always, like tonight, for example, he was playing with Struble, who was a healthy scratch last game. So I feel like you need to surround players like him, even if he's a future superstar, right?
Well, he is an amazing player. Can that guy dance, right? He never stops moving the shoulders, and he's so quick and agile and dynamic. Montreal it seems like they got a lot of guys on the backside there, a lot of young guys, and I think they're still trying to figure out, what they're going to end up with. I really give, Kent Hughes and Jeff Gordon credit and how they've gone about putting this team together and how many young dynamic players they have and how many young defensemen that they have, and they've got more coming. So I see Montreal. I think they're going to get in there this year, and they might win a series or do something. But watch out for these guys next year or the year after, where I think there's a move or two that's going to be made that really is going to stabilize not only their defense, but I think their forwards as well and their goaltending.
But for yourself, Ray, like who was your favorite partner throughout your career, and why is there like a certain prototype that you like to play with? Because obviously you play 30 minutes a game. Is there a certain was it more like a stay at home or a more offensive guy? Like what type of player did you like to have as a partner?
Well, I had I had Don Sweeney as a partner for maybe 5 or 6 years, and then I had Gordy Kluzak when he was able to be healthy again, his last year and a half, and. But I played with a lot of young guys that were coming into the league as well. But for me, I'm like Patrice. I'm playing against the best line all night long, and I like to be with somebody that's going to battle, that's going to be physical, and that I could count on. Those guys, and Donnie was an amazing partner. I tell you, he was so tough and such a battler and so competitive that I just love playing with him. He was a pain in the butt coming back to the bench after every shift, just dissecting every second of his shift. But other than that, he was a blast. And Gordy Kluzak, that to finally him being healthy and being able to play, got to go to the finals with Gordy that one year, and then with Donnie as well. So just somebody that's going to be solid that I could count on, and another physical guy that, because you're going up against some great lines and like the finesse guys, you don't have to worry about that so much. But when you're playing Lindros, Renberg, and Leclaire, maybe, you're in for a long night in the battles all night long, and Roenick and Kachuk and all these different lines. So, for me, those two guys were probably my favorites. A young guy that I came in with, Glenn Wesley, got to have him early in his career. That was a lot of fun to see him develop into a great defenseman.
But Wesley, wasn't he left?
McLaren.
They were all left-handed, so you're left-handed too. So do you like to play the outside?
I played mostly right.
Yeah. Wow, one of the few. Because that's what they're doing with Hudson, too. Like, they're trying to move him around, left or right. They're not sure what to do with him yet, but you prefer the right.
Please. What an advantage if you're able to play both sides.
Obviously.
Yeah. You're today's game, you're just, you're right-handed, you play right-handed. Lefty, play lefty. It's like, come on.
That's Ray Bourque.
Is it that easy?
It's not that easy for everybody, Ray. Okay, you made it look easy. Hey guys, I want to hear, like, you guys, obviously you talk about like growing as a player and what you need to do individually to help your team, but you guys were captains, obviously, of the Boston Bruins, and then you were part of building like a championship game. Where's the switch that you come from? Your team comes from like a good team to a contender. Like where does the switch is made? Is it only personnel? There's a mentality. I think so. But like you guys won, you've done it all. You've seen it all. You've played almost 3,000 games together. If we put all your games together, so what would you say is the biggest thing? Because you see Boston doing. They're chasing for a playoff spot. Montreal is going to be a really good team, I think, for a long time too. Like what's the next step for the teams? What do we need to see on a consistent basis from those two teams to kind of be good for a while and be a really good contender?
Yeah, I think if I speak from my time in Boston on the Bruins, I think it was really a mentality, and obviously it's a learning curve, right? It's a learning process. Like of course, like you battle, you get into the playoffs, and you learn how to win, and you gain confidence doing that, right? And I feel like it took us a few years of battling, but also of heartache. If you go back to 2010 for us, we won in 2011, but like in 2010, we were up 3-1 against Philly in the playoffs. They tied 3-3. We go game 7 in Boston, and we're up 3-0 in the game, and we lost that game. So you know what I mean? Like, so it's almost like experiences and heartaches that, as I said, makes you understand and realize that okay, well, you need to play for 7 games, and you never quit until you win the 4th game, and you never quit in the game. You know what I mean? Like, so then over time, you get to learn and getting that experience and grow as a team. And I think when you the personnel also makes a difference. You know, if I go back to like that winning team, like it was all about everyone was trying to push each other to be at their best. Everyone was making themselves accountable and then making the rest of the team accountable. No one was taking shortcuts. Guys were buying in and whatever Z and the rest of the core would say. You know what I mean? Like it was an all-out buy-in from every player, every coaches. And when you have that, you know, it does make a difference. And then you're able to do, you know, a tremendous thing as a team.
Yeah, I think it's lessons learned, you know, as you go on. Like Patrice said, you know, Philly came back on them that year, but I think the next year you beat them 4 straight.
4 straight.
Right. And you learn that as you go on, sometimes it is so hard to win. And I just remember in 1988, we were so happy about getting to the finals because, you know, I got there 79. We had some good teams. We battled. Then it became our group, probably 86 to early 90s, where we had really good runs. We went to 2 finals, getting to the semifinals, 2 or 3 rounds deep pretty much every year. We're one of the contending teams. And it was lessons learned and also personnel, you know, management. It starts from the top, you know, got to put the right guys part of the team, the right character guys, and you kind of grow as a team. And but I don't care how good you are. I mean, I just remember your team, Pat. I might have never seen a stronger team when you guys ended up losing in the first round to Florida, right?
Yeah.
I mean, did you have any weaknesses? Not one. And you know, they're up again 3-1 to Florida, and you know, Marshy had the puck on his stick with the breakaway with under 5 seconds left, and you win that, you go on. And sometimes that first series is the toughest one you got to get through. You know, you got to battle, and that kind of tests you. It reminds you what it takes and what it's going to take. And from there, you gain a lot of confidence. And it's I mean, you guys all play. You know how emotional it is in the playoffs. You win a game, you think you're not going to lose another one. You lose one, you think the world's ending. And just trying to stay even keel, you know, during the playoffs. It is, what a test. What a test. And I can't wait to watch, because seeing this game tonight was pretty much a playoff game and what's coming in a month. So
how do you like the playoff format right now? Because it's been talked, like, obviously in the West, you got the Colorado, Minnesota. Everybody says, like, okay, it doesn't make sense. Like, how do you guys like it? Like, I'm curious, because, like, we can talk about it, but you guys been through it. Like, what's your thought on it?
I hate it. I hate it.
Yeah.
I think you got to be rewarded for having a good season and not having to play Minnesota or Colorado, or like the Bruins had to play Toronto and Tampa when they're probably the 3 best teams in the East. Come on.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes no sense. Rivalries, divisional rivalries. Come on, are you friggin' kidding me? It's not the Adams division anymore, where you used to play 8 regular season games, 2 exhibition games, and then 7 games in the playoffs, 5 or 7. I mean, that was crazy. I mean, but 1 through 8, that's my thoughts.
I want to hear you.
I feel the same.
You guys, about the captaincy in Boston. You've been through it. It's a great honor. Obviously, it's a lot of pressure. We've talked about it earlier in the show, but right now, at one point, the Bruins are going to have to name one, right? And I feel like it's going to be such a privilege, and there's so many good players right now that could be the captain, right? I feel like all great is this guy gonna his life is gonna change. You guys been through it. It must be so special.
Oh my God, it's so special. You know, I think, like, it goes without saying, when you're named the captain of original 6 franchise, and you look at the guys before you that have, you know, worn the C, it's you know, it comes with, you know, obviously the responsibilities and the expectations, and Ray talked about the pressure, and I think that's something that I really embraced, and you know, I felt very fortunate to have as a challenge for myself, and then for the rest of the team, and I mean, what an experience. And you know what, like, it's also the guys that have worn the C before you. They reach out and they talk, and I've had conversations with Ray and Nifty, Rick Middleton, and a lot of guys that were captains before, and it's pretty special to have that with guys that are obviously Hall of Famers and legends, and that have had such a big impact on the organization, but also in the city of Boston. And then you try to understand and try to be half as good as them, and try to have. Be yourself, and through all of that, but also kind of like leave your mark. So it's special. And you're right that, at some point I know there's going to be a new captain, but there's so many great candidates and a lot of character in that locker room. And I think it's a special thing to have for them.
Ray, how did it happen for you? Like, who called you and where were you? Like, was it a surprise or?
For me, I had Wayne Cashman for my first captain. Then Taylor O'Reilly was my second captain, and then I was like, I think I was 25, and playing the game like I mentioned, going out for practice, the games, doing my thing, was so easy. Like on the ice was my safe heaven, right?
Yeah.
But when you're captain, it brings so much more other responsibilities. When you're winning and things are rolling, it's so easy, right? You just play, you just follow the wave. But when the shit hits the fan and you gotta bring teams, bring guys together and all that stuff. So I was always a natural leader, like how I played, how I practiced, and all that stuff. Vocally, I was kind of quiet, and I never kind of, if I lose it, you're in trouble. But I always pretty much control, even keel. So I was asked. I used to go back to Montreal every summer. So this is, I think, 85 or 86, and I get a call, and Terry had retired, so they're asking if I want to be captain. And for me, in my head, Nifty Rick Middleton was the next guy in line. He was the eldest statesman. He was, maybe our best player, our best forward. And I thought Nifty's next guy in line. And I'm like, I'm shitting my pants now that they're asking me to be captain of the Bruins. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready for this. So they came back to me and they said, how about if you and Rick share the captaincy? I'm captain on the road, Nifty's captain at home, then we split. So we did that for 2 years, and it kind of allowed me to grow into that next step of leadership. So it was, that's how I kind of went about it. So it was a nice way for me at that age to kind of get a lot more comfortable. But, when you're captain, it's not the one guy. When you're on good teams, it's a group of guys that you rely on, you bring together, and you try to solve problems that need to be discussed. So it's just not one leader in that room. When you have a good team, there's a handful or more guys that you could lean on.
So Ray, fast forward so many years later, now it's time to maybe move on from the Bruins, and then that special trade with Colorado. How was that? And then going to Colorado, I know you guys in the second round, you beat this wonderful team of the Red Wings, 4-1. But how was that, the big change, the big move, so much later on in your career to really make that call, like, I want to go win that cup?
Well, I never thought I would ever leave. And, when we talk about chemistry and culture, that was lost at the end of my career in Boston. I just couldn't understand putting a team like that together in Boston. And for me, coming to the rink, like they I talk about what do you miss most about not playing. I'm a pregame meal, pregame nap, and acting like a 15-year-old every day at the rink, right? So I bring energy, passion, so much fun. And I really had a hard time getting there. And I was 38 years old, and I was like, is it my age or is it the situation that I'm in? So I made a really hard decision. For me, it was the hardest business decision I've ever made in my life, was asking to be traded. and I went to an amazing place. Pierre Lacroix is a winner. That's all he wants, is to win, 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 and he'll do anything to win. And he got me to Colorado. It was the best team that I've ever played on in terms of talent. I think they kind of underachieve. They won in '96, the first year out there, and then they'd get to the semis and close, and just couldn't get over the hump. And my first year there, I got there March 6th. We got to the semifinals, 7th game to Dallas. We lost to them, and I knew I was coming back for one more year, and it was just an amazing year.
So you knew right away, I'm doing another year for sure.
Yeah, well, my first game in Calgary, I get there and I'm behind the net, and I come out and I kind of rip a pass to Milan Hajduk coming across the blue line. He rips a pass to Joe Sakic on the other blue line. Joe goes in, scores on a breakaway. I'm like,
This is fun.
This is fun again.
There it is. I'm 15 years old again.
yes.
Pat, were you ever
And,
close
I get to play.
taking this type of decision
play
at the end of
with-
your career?
Pardon me?
Sorry, I was asking Pat if he was ever close to take a decision, a similar decision. You know, like you said, it was so hard to leave to go on a winning team. Pat, at the end of your career, I'm sure you had options, right?
Yeah, no, I never. I wasn't in the same situation, right? Because like later in my career, like our team was still competitive, and obviously, our last year we had I think the best record ever. So, so like I didn't have that hard decision to make. So it never really crossed my mind. But yeah, so like I knew that I didn't have that many years left, and the other thing too is I had a cup already, so like like Ray, I know he was going for the cup, and it was a different situation altogether, but it wasn't something that I did have some options, as you said, but then at that point, after like that many years, I was like, you know what, like I don't think it's worth it to move my family to somewhere else later in my career.
I think
And I if I would have been in that situation, never that I would have left. Why would you leave Boston?
Right.
If
You're right.
Yeah.
For me, I'm like, my legacy, I'm like, I don't know how this is going to go down. I was accepted back with open arms from the fans. I think the fans totally understood why I left, and they knew what was going on. So I came back. They had a parade for me in Boston. 10,000 people showed up at City Hall.
Wow.
The mayor of Boston, his office calls my agent after we win the cup. They say the mayor wants to do something for you at City Hall. I'm like, I can't do that. I don't want to embarrass the Bruins. He said, well, what about if the Bruins sign off on it? I said, well, then I'll think about it. So he calls Mike O'Connell. Mike says, no, we don't have a problem with it. So I do it, and 10,000 people show up. And then, everybody's talking to me about how we kept them up late at night watching us play out west.
Yeah, but people were so happy when you won that cup. Was it
It's a
your
great story.
Oh, it is. It's one of the best story of hockey if you're a
should
hockey
make a
fan.
movie.
Yeah, but was it your day with the cup there, or you had an extra day? And if you did, what did you do with it? I'm sure everybody wants to know.
I came back with the cup for that, and then I had it in Montreal for a couple hours in my hometown, Saint Laurent, and then I had it for a nice big. It was like a wedding. I had like maybe over 200 people at my party at Ipswich Country Club. It was an amazing time, and it was a blast. There's nothing like that trophy. It's crazy. You wake up in the morning, it's on your kitchen table, and you're like, what the hell? It's pretty cool.
And I must say, Ray Bourque is an awesome singer. Simon, do we have that picture? Do we have that picture, please?
We had a couple of good times.
Yeah, we have. Singing karaoke with Ray Bourque on the road with an alumni tour.
That's unreal.
Oh, man. Get to play and sing with one of your idols. How about that?
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, was that a make-a-wish for you, Dandy, on that? Or
Ray, do you remember what the song was? Do you remember what the song was?
Yeah, I think my go-to is "You Look Wonderful Tonight."
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But believe me, there's nobody that has better stories than the one guy talking to us tonight.
I'm just a sponge, man. I was
Good
like,
storyteller there.
I feel like I'm somewhat of a Forrest Gump of hockey. I was there. Like nobody recognized me really, but I was there. I was part of that team. You know, these guys. I'm a big sponge and a big hockey fan. That's what I am.
Hey guys, honestly, thank you so much. We know we went a bit longer, but it's much appreciated. I think the fans are really happy on the chat. Both of you captains on the chat after a game against Boston. Do we all agree that we need a little playoff matchup this year, Boston against Montreal? I feel like hockey needs that.
That'd be great. That's always a special one.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Thank you so much.
Soon. Take care.
Thanks.
Thanks
Keep
for
up
having
the
us.
good work, boys.
Thank
See
you
ya.
so much. Thank you.
Take care, guys.
This interview was presented by Molson. All great guys. Like I feel like I always like feel, and I feel like weird. Like every time we get like, guys are so nice, right? They're just there. They take time. They talk up after the game. They don't have to. It's late. They're generous. You know, like this is, and it's. When you talk to these guys, you realize why they were captains, right? Why they won Stanley Cups.
You listen to these guys, and it makes you feel like you want to play hockey.
Yeah,
for sure.
Like it'd be now, you like you said, you understand why they were great leaders, because they talk, and you're like you just want to follow them whatever they're saying. You know what? They are right for sure. Like if you want to follow them, so that was good. That was fun.
I remember I was in Detroit when it was a big rivalry back then, Detroit, Colorado, and the deadline, Colorado acquires Ray Bourque. I'm like, oh my God, like and they actually beat us in the playoffs 4-1. Like he was huge. He was a key. You get a guy that plays 30 minutes, like he was amazing. Ray was absolutely amazing, and as much as it hurts me, to say, it's Colorado Avalanche, because I hated them for so long, I was happy to see Ray get that cup still.
You knew that the whole hockey world was against you guys.
Absolutely.
Everybody knew it was his last
We've always
year,
been
and
the
everybody
evil
was pulling
team.
for Ray.
No, we were the good team. The Avalanche are the evil team.
I love the Bruins when Bergie and Ray are there, but now it's time to talk about the Habs.
All right,
that's our team post-game show. Obviously, I wanna get back to what we've seen tonight. I think it was a great playoff game, 3-2 win. We had to win that game to stay in the. I want to say to not be part of that famous mix we've been talking about for the last 5 years and fight with that line to make the playoffs. Anderson, great game tonight. I feel like it was the type of game we needed him to show up big time, and he did.
He did. Absolutely did. His best game, physical, tenacity, driving to the net, nose to the net. I mean, that's a playoff type of game, and it looks good if the Canadiens make it to the playoff, because you want a guy like that. I mean, obviously, you want him to play like that every single game. Although there's not that many games left, maybe we'll see something good out of it. I like Anderson's game. I like the defensive core a bit better than what we saw over the weekend. And I think the management was a bit better defensively. But at the same time, it's that great question we asked Ray, like, who do you put with Hudson? Like, it's so weird to have, a Hudson, future Hall of Famer, an All-Star, probably the best in the league, to have play with a healthy scratch type of guy. Like,
I have an issue. I have an issue with our best player on D, at least. Like, you look around the league, even Makar plays with Taze, right? Like, every good defenseman in the NHL, they have a great partner. It's not just like a guy that he needs to carry all over the ice. Like, it can go the other way as well. You can have a guy that helps you be better. And I feel like it's time to try something else. Yeah. Like, the option as a righty to have Hudson on the left side and a righty is Dobson on this team. Is it time to maybe try Randbacker with Hudson?
Well, that's a good point, because Randbacker was supposed to be the guy, and he was supposed to be the guy this year. Yeah. And he's not pulling through. I hear he's playing better now, but there's a bit of his physical games that it's in doubt right now. But that's the guy, 5th overall. He's supposed to be the guy that plays on that side, but now we're pushing him another year back. So,
but again, Denis, he hasn't played yet. Like, like a guy like Hudson, that's with everything that he did last year. Like, you have to kind of give him something, like a solid veteran or somebody that's been proven, that's got not only 100 games, but like 400 or 500 games, and just being in that role before, and kind of give him a chance to create. Like Ray was just saying that he played a lot a lot of years with Sweeney. Like you've played with guys a long time. You get a chemistry going. Like you see, the best example is like Taze and Makar. Like they go everywhere together. Like they know their reflexes, they know their positioning, they know their habits. And I think you can tell us, because you played the position, how big of a difference it makes when you have your buddy that you know exactly what he's gonna do.
My second favorite partner on defense in my whole career. Number one is Lidstrom. That's a no-brainer.
I'm sure he's saying the same thing right now. In another podcast.
He's got your jersey in his office.
I gave him his third Norris Trophy. I gave him his third
You're a
Norris.
great guy, Dandy.
3 out of 7. I think he won like 6 or 7 in a row.
Thanks for doing this.
Yeah. You're welcome. You're welcome, Nick.
You were great for the hockey world, Dandy.
Well, I wasn't invited to the Hall of Fame. What happened? My second partner ever, favorite partner, Francis Bouillon, by a landslide. Why? Because Francis, we understood the game the same, and he was a physical guy, but he was always open for me, and vice versa. And we used to call it the l'entonnoir, the funnel. And he would be able to jam and just kill guys with his hip check. But he played so well, so hard, so honest that it was easy to read. Because we always knew what was happening. He wasn't trying a super saucer pass. So he played it the right way, and I understood his game, and he understood my game. So I really enjoyed playing with Francis Bouillon. We used to, even in the morning practices, we had a good time. Ray Bourque was talking about being 15 years old. In morning practice, we do these 2-on-2s, and we'd love to shut down everybody. So that was kind of fun. But shout out to Francis Bouillon. That works with the organization still. And with those young guys.
But you know where I have an issue, Pascal?
Yes.
Let's see, you look at Hudson, right? Like, he makes a D2D pass in the offensive zone to Struble. You know that 90% of the time, it's not even a shot on net. Like the puck stops there. I feel like he cannot be as creative as he's supposed to be. I think he cannot take too many risks with the puck, because I feel like his D partner is not an option. I'm not worried about the defensive play. Like Struble he's a strong guy. He's not gonna cheat. Like he has nothing else than his defensive game. But I feel like the play dies every single time that he looks across the blue line and passes the puck to him. Right? Like.
I think
like Strubel's a seventh defenseman.
Yeah, but why is he there?
Exactly, you shouldn't be playing with Hudson.
I think the issue is that you mentioned all these great Makar and Werenski and all these great defensemen. They're number one defensemen. And right now, the Canadiens are thinking Matheson and Dobson are the number one duo to play on D versus all the top lines. It's not Hudson. So it's not Hudson that's number one. Yes, he's the best defenseman, but they don't want him to go against all the best lines and be a shutdown guy like they do with Matheson and Dobson. I think that's the issue here. So now they're putting the other two, the top guys, play against the top line, and to give more the offensive spark with Hudson, even. Like, you look at the time. I mean, he's playing 21 minutes, and his D partner played 13.
Well, he's the least.
Right? Like, it's a big difference. So, we're missing that guy, and it was supposed to be Gouli, but Gouli's not playing well. So, they had to put Gouli back on the third pairing to get somewhat of some confidence back and not go against the top lines on the other side.
Quick message before we talk about a few stats from tonight. People who are following us on X right now, please give us a subscribe on our YouTube channel. I mean, in the next few shows, there's going to be, obviously, we give away a few things like the card box we're about to give away. Big value. It's our break of the night. So don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. A few stats from Dr. Stats, who's been texting me all night. This is what happened tonight. On Caufield's goal, 80th point of the year for Suzuki. What a season he's having right now. Suzuki now has 2 of the 5 80-point season by a Canadiens captains. Big thing again. 24th Caufield goal that gave Montreal the lead. 7 most in NHL history in a season. Suzuki, last 82 games, 99 points if you combine with last year. That's unbelievable. Hudson, last 82 games, 82 points. Suzuki and Hudson in top 10 NHL for assists. Special. Like we're talking about a special group. Even if sometimes we complain, we're heading the right direction.
Yeah, but they were good tonight. I thought the first line was probably the best line for the Canadiens tonight. They were buzzing right away. Suzuki's goal was a nice goal too. Like it came from like Slav pressure on the D's, and Zaka kind of gives up the puck under pressure and creates a turnover. And I like, for a goalie, it's hard because most of the guys, when you have a guy like that alone by himself, a lot of guys in the league will kind of rush it and try to just put it on net because they know everybody's coming at them. And I really like the patience of Suzuki to making that play and bring it on his backhand. That's really hard for a goalie. No, I thought they were good. And you know what? The best news is they showed up for a big game. Yep. You want your best player to be the best players in those important games, and I thought they showed up. Caufield, obviously, big goal, but he had a great chance in the third period when he deked and then he hit on the outside of the post. They were buzzing. I like Anderson's game, but I thought that first line was good. Slav made some solid plays, nothing really spectacular, but I thought he was solid. You could see that the importance of having big guys, the size mattered, I think, to me, in that game, in that kind of game. There's not a lot of space, but you have to kind of create your own space. That's what happened on Anderson's goal when he took advantage of body position on Zadorov, who's a really, really big guy. And that, that kind of makes a difference. But I really like the top lines game.
Like Max, you mentioned all these great stats by Suzuki and Caufield, and it's amazing in a playoff-like atmosphere how they stay calm, and that's a good sign because the playoffs, they ramp up the energy and everybody gets nervous, and it's whoever stays calm that usually wins. And I remember in Detroit, we'd be down a goal or so, but nobody was really nervous because what happens in the last 2 minutes of every period, the other team gets nervous. Like a younger team that's, they're looking at the clock all the time. And for us, it's just keep playing the same way. Eventually, you'll get our chance. And we did. And we scored some big goals late in periods. And that was the key, to have that experience and stuff. And what I'm seeing out of Caufield, like you mentioned, that great chance in the third, who takes it from the corner and doesn't even shoot one of the best shots in the NHL and still dekes the guy in front of the net to try to wrap it, to go back door. That was amazing. And Suzuki always calm and always smart, very cerebral when he plays. So that's a good sign from those guys.
I feel like he's so strong and so like you just said, he's part of the game and he's waiting for the right moment to make the right play, right? He's not the patience thing. I feel like he was the whole game. He was waiting for a great scoring chance, and bam, and then he goes back to playing the right way defensively, and then he never shows emotion. He's never never too high, never too low. Him, it's always too low. You know what I mean? He scores a big goal in a second overtime, and it's crickets. It's I love to see that from a captain in Montreal because you cannot be overexcited here. I feel like he's. I want to say he's underrated, in the NHL. What he brings is pretty special.
Well, yes and no, because he did make Team Canada.
You're right.
And that was a thing. All the top minds of the NHL, they looked at him. They said he's a special guy. He's a special player, but his calmness and approach to the game is pretty wild, pretty amazing. Because anybody else, most guys will get really amped up and nervous and he calms everybody down and he slows everybody down. And like you said, he makes the right play under pressure.
Yeah, and you mentioning the Olympics, I think we're seeing that he was a sponge there.
True.
Yeah,
because
he's better.
I think he's been better, and obviously being with the great leader, especially the Crosby, just spending 2.5 weeks with these guys, a guy like that could see all bunch of different style too, huh?
Yep.
Just see how they prepare and stuff. I really believe that he brought I can't say it.
Hockey with an accent.
Hockey with an accent. We should find a sponsor whenever something when we mess up a word.
I think we should buy a hammer.
Can I buy some letters? Can I buy some letters?
Hockey with an accent will be back when the saliva is back in his mouth. All right, let's have a glass of water.
I think I had a heart attack.
Pascal would like to buy a vowel.
You know what? There was an air bubble who went through my head. But he brought back. I don't even know. I don't even know what I was talking about.
I think we have an issue with the
Wi-Fi. You're talking about Suzuki. But
I know that.
You had an important point.
You know what? We'll play the replay.
Yeah.
Are you okay? You know what? Anyway, he's going to be a good player.
Yeah. But to your point, it's a good point that is.
What was the point?
No, what was the
It was
point?
about
I don't even
Suzuki
remember.
being a sponge.
Yeah.
But it wasn't only like on the ice. It was in the dressing room. And seeing Crosby and McDavid and all these guys, see how they approach a game. Were they all big rah-rah guys or quiet guys? What would they say between each other, between line mates, the meetings and all that stuff? So I think he picked up a lot of information there.
And just being in really high pressure situations in the semifinal, in the final.
Yeah.
I think that's something that even if you don't have that much Stanley Cup experience, that's something that counts somewhere. I think that's going to be very helpful for him.
True.
No, you're right, and they played in the finals. Like they've done a lot for young players, you know. Like talking about young players, I want to discuss a little bit the Bolduc situation. Healthy scratch back in the lineup. Healthy scratch back in the lineup. You look at him, and we've been discussing his role. And I just want to share my opinion with the people in the chat. I feel like right now the focus is too much about, oh, this kid can skate and hit, and he's just going out there trying to get the big hit. But the reality is he's a goal scorer. Like on the team, I feel like people are going to be surprised, but I think on the team, behind Cole Caufield, he's the best natural shooter. He scored 50 goals in junior back-to-back years. He had an unbelievable end of the season in St. Louis last year, scoring those goals from the high slot as a third man. And I feel like right now there's a disconnect between what he's supposed to do and what he's bringing, meaning he's always F1 on the forecheck trying to be the big guy hitting, but he's a shooter. He's supposed to be third man high, receiving the puck from a great passer. And I feel like right now he's just ruining his game by trying to create his new identity with the team.
He's trying to follow up like what he's being told in a way. And I lived somewhat of a same situation. Obviously, mine was way worse. I had to switch completely position. But I remember at the time having conversation with Scotty Bowman. He didn't know where to put me in a way. And then I go up to him and he says, I would say, well, what's my role? And he couldn't really pinpoint. But he said, well, tonight you're going to play on the left side with, let's say, Fedorov. Okay, but what is my role? So he wasn't sure. He liked me as a player, but he just didn't know what to do with me. And I think with the Canadiens, it's a bit of the same thing. He had a funk not scoring goals anymore. He had a great start of a season. And now it's like, well, if you're not scoring, then do the other good stuff well. And I think now his focus is more on that, like you just mentioned, Max, finishing my hit and trying to be that intimidating, not intimidating, but this force and create some turnovers. He had some good chance. I did like that line with Texier. I did like that mix.
I like Texier.
Yeah, I liked him too on that line. Texier took control of the puck a lot more. But in a way, like, I think they're having issues. Like, they're not sure what to do with him because he is supposed to be somewhat of a sniper. But I think when he goes too long of a drought, then it hits his head. It's in his head, and then he tries to overhit a bit.
But he's in one right now. I think it's a 20-plus game that he hasn't scored, and he's probably closing in like on 30 more than 20. So I don't know if they are trying to send him a message that he's got to find other ways to score goals. No, remember when like Cole Caufield, his first year or two, really like always stayed on the outside, waiting for like the perfect shot, and then there was an evolution with Cole that now he started going in front of the net, going in the hard areas in front of the net. Like he really changed as a player. Now he's a great 200 feet player on the ice, and then he finds other ways to score goals. I don't know if they're trying to do the work the same way like he was, because Marty, like before that, Caufield had like struggled before Marty came in. Yep. He struggled to score goals, but then when Marty came in, like Caufield really got into it kind of pretty early. Like he didn't have the 20 or 30 game without a goal. Like so I don't know, but maybe with Texier will help, because Texier is a bit better on the forecheck maybe than Doc is sometimes. Maybe he'll be able to find like some open sweet spot in the slot where Bolduc can use that shot. But you see, like he had a chance in the second period. I think it was on a 2-on-1. He kind of like, you could see he has no confidence right now. No. He kind of hesitated, and he's like, "Oh, should I pass?" Like you see it in his game right now that it's just not automatic, and he's thinking a lot.
You overthink a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, in hockey, basically, if you think too far ahead, you're done. Like he's always thinking, I got to score a goal. I can't wait to score a goal. And you got the family, you got everybody watching, all your buddies, all your friends. Hey, keep going. You'll get out of it, type of thing. But I think you focus a lot on it, and instead of you get the puck out. make sure and just get open. But it's a free flowing game, and I think when you think too much, you impede yourself, and that's what's happening because it's a long drought and it's tough. He scored goals his whole life, and all of a sudden, this time in the NHL, he's not scoring anymore. So it's really hard. It's tough. It's more mental than it is physical, for sure.
We're going to talk a little bit as well about Dobesh. Another win for him, and just another stats from Dr. Stats, who you will meet in the next few shows at one point. Don't forget, we're still building. It's a new thing for us. If you look at the Canadiens this season, when the goalie is over 900, the Canadiens are 26-0-3. When they're below 900, they're 10, 20, and 7. Yeah. It's major. Like it proves that the goalies, they need to do their job, and Dobesh did it again tonight. The kid is just winning. Doesn't matter how.
He was good. Yeah, I liked his game today with like 26 saves. What I liked the most is when you go, like, we'll go through the goals. Like the first goal wasn't his fault. It was a bad bounce through on Madison. Like it's hard for a goalie because you expect a pass and you're already starting moving one way. It's hard to come back, and Zaka's a good player too, so it's not like it wasn't a bad shot. And on what was the second goal again?
It was like the 3-on-2, 2-on-2, and the two guys, Hudson and Kapanen, went after the same player.
So that was a nice play. So but what I liked the most is he had a really big save on McAvoy in the third period with 6 minutes left, right in the slot. That was a big save. Then I think Zaka missed the net on the overtime on the breakaway, but the way that you position yourself and you challenge the shooter, that's a save. That, to me, that counts as a save because you put yourself in a position and you force the guy to not make a bad plays, but you kind of send him where you want, and then if he misses the net, then you did a good job. He's way more calm. We talked about it last week. I mean, for me, it's like since the goalie change, the goalie coach change, there's an evolution in his game. He's
with the medicine ball there.
You like the medicine ball. You like that exercise, but you could see that they've been really working with him to being a bit more calm in front of his net. He's starting to make a bit more saves on rebound and like second scoring chances. But like Max said, like he finds a way lately to make the save when it counts. And, 900, it's not that huge. That was like back then, like if you didn't have 900, it was a bit more defensively as a league, but you couldn't play in the league. No. Yeah. Like nobody, like if you were going down that bar, you were sent in the American League. So, and they were pushing really for like the 911 and those around that stat. That was kind of like if you want to be a number one, you got to be around that kind of stat. The game changed quite a bit in the last 10, 15 years. But no, I like what I'm seeing, and I didn't mind Fowler's game two nights ago. Like he made some good saves during the third. Now, as a team, we got to be careful because the last game against Anaheim, we gave 4 or 5 good scoring chances in the third. Today, it was a bit better, but we still gave up 1 or 2. We gave up more quality chances, I thought, than Boston did in the third.
So where do we go from there? Like, I feel like as great as Fowler is, and he's the future of the organization, I feel like right now you play Dobesh every single game until he starts.
You were at Fowler the other day.
Yeah.
Hey.
No, but you know what? No, but I go with the game, right? Like if a guy is all over the crease.
Yeah, but Max.
No, but there's a point since Marciano is there with the Canadiens, Dobesh is square in front of his net.
Yeah, but like remember
because when we had that discussion, we were talking about the swimmer in his paint that he was wasting energy, right?
Yeah, but.
He wins every single game.
Yeah, no, he wins, and we need the points. Point taken, that's for sure. We need the points. But Fowler, it wasn't his fault. But Fowler got the big game in Ottawa.
That's a good point.
And that was a huge game. That was the biggest game of the season back then. And now that was tonight. The biggest game of the season was tonight. All the next games are the biggest game. They're playing who? They're playing Detroit on Thursday. Playing the Red Wings. What an important game.
Are you going to wear your jersey or are you cut the cord?
I haven't cut the cord.
You haven't cut the cord,
No, it's tough. It's really tough, and hopefully we'll have a few good guys there too on Thursday.
Are you allowed to say our special guest on Thursday?
Well, I don't want to say, I'll text him tonight just to make sure, but I want to make sure. But at the same time, I don't know. I think they might go with Fowler on the next game. Like because what's the point bringing him up if you're gonna sit him down, type of thing? But I understand if he loses again, then you go with the Dobesh almost the rest of the way.
Tonight Dobesh won, and there's a break now in between the games.
It's a 1-day break.
Yeah, but you have to go back with Dobesh next game, no? Okay, let's go back in time. If it was Carey Price and he had that name, that tag, he would be in that next game after a win against Boston at home in overtime.
But that's not Carey Price.
But you guys still went with Halak 1 year because something happened, right?
Yeah, but because Price wasn't hot at the moment.
Price wasn't hot
but Dobesh is.
But we need the
but
points.
remember that like about 10 days ago, it was all panic again in front of the net. Then you call up Fowler, he wins, and now Fowler's the next Carey Price. I think we have to take a step back and kind of like now the good news is the two goalies are playing well.
True.
You're talking about the
awesome.
900.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing. So, and then the team is getting important points in the standing. So, to me, they're gonna be busy. So both goalies are gonna play. And now, who's in Marty's head? Like we don't know. But I don't think Fowler played bad against Anaheim. That to kind of take him away from playing time. He made some really big save in the third against Anaheim, and then. Like it's a mistake at the end of the game that cost the games, but he makes 2 or 3 good big
that wasn't it.
saves.
Yeah, that's not his fault.
So you know what I like is like he's showing that he can make the big save when it counts to keep your team in the game. So you know what? Right now I'm comfortable with either one of them in front of the net for Thursday.
You're right.
Yeah, for now I'm good. And
I agree.
It's Thursday, and then New York Islanders another big game too. Like it's all like Eastern Conference. Everybody's winning. You gotta get points against these teams. So
like when Marty St. Louis for the last he'll say the last 20 games of the season. One good thing that is almost a check mark is that goaltending. Where was that all season? It took 60 games. That was a big confusion.
It took 60 games to find our number one goalie.
And it's 2 rookies.
And to find the 2 rookies that actually, I think in net we're good now. We can focus on other things because that was the big problem throughout most of the season. Who is going on? What's happening? Ups and downs. And so at least that's one of the good things to go, for the less 15 games before the playoffs.
After the show, guys, not right now in the chat, but after the show in the comments, please come and write us who you want to see in that next game, Dobesh or Fowler. That would be nice just to have a feel for the crowd.
Yeah, what I'll say that though, he made me nervous when he got out of his net in overtime to give himself an option to Lane Hudson.
Yeah, that's
I was
true.
like,
Easy,
what are you
buddy.
doing?
Easy.
You're good and not that good.
Good point. Good.
It's time for our break of the week presented by Rémi Card Trader. We've talked about it at the beginning of the show. We have our winner, and we're going to open the box in the next few moments. And the winner for tonight, break of the week, is Luke Boriotis. You have won the contest. Send us an email at info@lapochebleu.com before the end of the show. Otherwise, the prize will be awarded to someone else. The cards that we're about to open will be yours. There might be a lot of value. Let's go check it out. Here we go. Honestly, guys, I hope we get the Mathieu Dandenault one because he's right behind me. If we pull that out here tonight, there's going to be a party at our studios, that's for sure. Let's open the little box. Always makes me nervous. You get a big, expensive card in there. You don't want to ruin it, that's for sure. All right. What are we looking for? We talk about Mario Lemieux, Wayne Gretzky, Patrick Roy, Jean Béliveau, Bobby Orr, Mathieu Dandenault. Let's do it. If it's not a Dandenault, we'll take a Mario Lemieux. I think that would be good. Little box down. Here we go. I think the last 2 weeks was okay. It's time to get a superstar somewhere. We've got some valuable cards, obviously, but now it's time for a big pull. The break of the week. Ooh. Okay, we're there. All right, guys. Let's see it. First card tonight. We're going to start with the top one. Ooh, that's exciting. Oh, Norm Ullman. That's not my generation. Sorry, Norm. Must have been a great player, but I don't know him really well. Here we go. second pull of the day, or the night, should I say. What have we got here? Ooh, one of the best defensemen ever in the NHL, Phil Housley. Spectacular player, was always so nice to watch him. I think he was a great assistant coach as well. Okay, we need something. I see something special. Here we go. What is it? What is it? What is it? Oh, wow. What a nice card. That's one. Pat Lafontaine. Wood card. That's so nice. What a card. That's so beautiful. Look at that, guys. Super nice. Put in front. Next card. Let's get something signed here. Reggie Lemelin. Sign as well. Goaltender. Okay, we need something that I know of here. I need a superstar. These guys are good, great players, but I need something big. Brian Campbell, played against him, signed as well. Great defenseman for Buffalo. Great skater. Super tough to play against. So skilled. And the last card tonight. Jimmy Carson out of 25. I think there's a piece of stick inside of the card, signed as well. Super nice card. We didn't get Mathieu Dandenault tonight, but maybe better luck next time. I hope you enjoyed the unboxing tonight, the break of the week. It was a good one. We'll see you next week, guys. And that was nice. Always fun to see what you're gonna get. Just a quick thing, guys. We've been doing podcasting in French for 7 years, and we're pretty severe with the chat. We're here to have fun. It's a safe place. We all love hockey. Not everyone agrees, but as long as it stays respectful, you will stay in the chat. But we're not really patient with that stuff. We don't like those knights, those keyboard knights, losers that think they're so tough and they're calling out everybody and they're disrespectful. So this is the first message of the year. Sorry, but this is how we work.
Red flag.
This is how we work in our business. We don't like losers. Okay, everyone else, great job tonight. It's fun to keep up. Last subject of the night before we let you go. Big moment tonight. Cole Caufield, 40 goals. Is he going for 50?
40 goals.
You know how much money I've spent over the years giving guys money for their 500, 600, 700 goals. Like we had all these guys on our team. But 50 is very special, and I remember watching Stéphane Richer get his 50th. I remember that. He had 2 games to go. So five goals the last 2 games. And it takes that special player, and I think Cole Caufield is that special player. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it this year. I'd love to see it go down to the wire. I think he might just make it.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great for the fans. Obviously, that'd be great for the team. If he gets there, that means that he keeps scoring. I mean, to me, as long as he scores big goals when they're needed, like tonight.
Well, he's the best in the NHL, right? For the go-aheads and the game winners type of thing.
Even I think he's second in the league behind McKinnon for goals scored during the season. We will have to check it out, but it's just the impact that he brings to the team and important goals. You mentioned it. We mentioned it like tonight is like a lot of those goals, a lot of those 40 goals, they made a big difference.
Yeah.
And I think to me that's more important than the final number. It's just the way that those goals impacted the games when the team really needed them. It'd be great though. You know, we're in the entertainment business. It'd be great, and he deserves it. I find just the way that he's matured over the last year.
He's a good player.
He's a good player.
And he's got that swag now. He's got that swagger.
He's skating well.
Yeah, the confidence.
Yeah.
The confidence to deke the guy before going around the net. My God.
But you know what he's after as well, and we didn't mention it all season, is he's 5 goals away from McKinnon. Imagine if he would win the Maurice Richard Rocket Trophy, like from a Montreal Canadiens. That would be unbelievable.
Yeah,
5 goals,
special.
guys. It's possible.
Yeah.
McKinnon is it's tough.
But you never know though. Like you obviously have to stay healthy.
True.
Like I think that's the big thing.
True.
But he's gonna get his chances. And right now, if he's getting hot right now, you could see when he shoots the puck and then he gets on the streak. That's a guy that really could do it. Like he can do
game-winning goals.
There you go.
Number 1.
So we're saying about important goals.
Number 1 in the league
now.
Wow.
9 game-winning goals.
And he's only 25 years old. And he signed long time.
But you could see how it makes a difference. And your team gets better. Like he's get like better passer. Lane Hutson's a huge effect too. Suzuki, you talk about his patience and now that chemistry that they know exactly where they are. And then you know what, Slav is a big impact on that line too. So it kind of creates a lot of attention around him, frees up some space for the shooter. And Cole, good shooter. You've been around a lot of good. They find a way to find the right spot.
Absolutely.
And you trying to defend it, and they will do it every night. They'll find a way every night.
It's so true because I remember in 2002, a playoff, we had a line. It was Datsuk and Brett Hall, but Boyd Devereaux. Right? Boyd Devereaux, but a hard worker, skater, he would go get that puck in the corner all the time. And he battled hard to get to a Pavel. Then Hully is just waiting in the slot. Yeah. So I think the chemistry was right. And like you mentioned, ever since the Olympic break, putting Slav back on the first line has really solidified that line. And they've been playing well ever since.
Well, I think you need Slav on the first line. Like you're gonna have some tough matchups in the playoffs. Like I'm looking at the standings right now. So far, we're playing Tampa, right? So you need Slav on the first line. You know they're going to match him against Hedman. If it's Buffalo, it's going to be Dahlin or the big Ds they just acquire. Or if you look at Boston, they're going to play against McAvoy. If you play Detroit, it's going to be Moritz Seider. So you just think about the defensemen in that division. You need Slavkovsky on the first line. We brought him in Montreal to make some room for small players. He's with two small players. You need him on the first line. As much as tonight it was tougher for the second line.
It was.
Like we haven't mentioned Newhook's name once tonight. No. Really. It's rare because normally
we didn't see Kapanen either.
You know, like
just on that minus.
And they didn't have much ice time. Like they played
especially at 5-on-5. We saw Demidov a bit on the power play because he's gonna get his touches. But but you know what? That's at least when that's not the secret, but that's where good teams they need two good lines. Because some nights some guys it just won't work. It's not because they're not working hard. It's just the puck's not rolling. They don't get their rhythm. And let's not forget too. Tonight they started the game with a 4-minute PK. So
that is hard to do.
This is hard to do for like offensive guys, like not to get in the games. Like I think the Demidov line, got first touched the ice with 6 or 7 minutes in. So sometimes it's hard for these guys to get going, and I think it might have affected them tonight. Not as an excuse, but that was one more challenge for them.
True. Like anybody that doesn't play special teams, it's hard when you get in penalty troubles, especially that early. Especially against the Boston Bruins, especially against, all these, all those things combined. And at the same time, you mentioned if, the first line was hot, second line maybe not, but Anderson's line was great, Yep. So there was some sparks from most of the guys, and it'll never be all four lines at the same time. But that's what you want on a winning team is that different lines show up on different occasions. But certainly the first line was key, and Anderson was key tonight.
Did Gallagher send a message? 6 hits tonight, and Anderson played better.
Well, yeah. Well, it's a playoff type of game. That's what it was. That's what it was tonight. So that's right up Gallagher.
He will be there game one of the playoffs.
Yeah. Same with Anderson. It's the same thing. Yeah. They'll be key for the playoff, and they'll have some big roles. And it's too bad Evans didn't score that tap in.
Forgot about that.
That would have been huge. But we saw pretty much everybody kind of show up tonight.
Pascal, Dandy, thanks so much for the show tonight. People in the chat, please, at the end of the show, just go right in the comments who you would start next game, Fowler or Dobesh. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to share the show everywhere on your platform, social medias. We want to grow the business, obviously, and have some special guests every single night. We want to offer a great show for you guys, that's for sure. And we also have other shows on our French channels. It's called La Poche Bleue. We have a show tomorrow night in French. We have post games in French on YouTube. We have a little bit of everything, English and French. So don't forget to follow us, and we'll see you next post game after the Detroit game.
Thursday.
Special guests. We have a three times Stanley Cup champion in Detroit. We're expecting a lot of surprise.
I'm going to call a teammate.
Thanks,
sure.
guys. Have a good night. Hockey with an Accent was presented by Molson.